So I've been blessed with fair weather today. Not too hot. The smokes from the Minnesota Canada fires have cleared out, I think, for good, hopefully for good. And it's a good time to start another garden tour. Welcome to Joy of the Garden and Home mid-July garden tour. Well, just look in on the chickens. They're taking their late afternoon snacks that little miss fed them, some grass and other greens from the yard. While we're here, we're going to meander over to the compost pile, which I am looking to tackle. Well, maybe not the next couple of weeks because we're going to be away, but well, not the whole week. So maybe at the end of the week, if not this weekend, because it might rain. So looky loo, I threw potatoes that were like overly, what is it, stretched, you might say. And so I threw them in the compost because I knew they might grow, but I wasn't expecting much. But they're looking pretty good. I won't be able to touch that part of the pile until those start dying off. But I have plenty of compost to work on this side, which is more aged anyway. So that's great. Now over here are potatoes I put in on purpose. So more of a root stout approach. So these are looking very healthy. They look like they still have a ways to go before they're ready compared to the ones I planted earlier in the season. So if you can see over there is the limelight hydrangea, the old flowers still hanging on, but the new flowers starting to come in. I forget that these are so sporadic. Like that one's been bloomed for most of June, and then this one's just coming on. And I think I got enough acid in the soil for this one. And then this one is taking its sweet time. And this one is usually the first to come on. And it's also the most prone to whatever like disease or bug damage that happens.
This is my flower, and it's called a gladius.
Gladiolus.
Yeah.
So this was the one surviving bulb from last season, and now it's finally showing off. Yay!
Don't touch it.
Also in this bed is a ghost pepper that's finally coming out of chlorosis, which is all these yellow leaves. The new leaves are green. I got some Walla Walla onions there, and I have some holy basil. I recently just redid this. It was wood that's rotting away, and animals have been gnawing at it. So I had this found material, which is siding actually. I folded it up, made this box. There was actually like 3 inches gap on both sides, so I had to fill that in with some soil. So I've been sifting soil, and so now I have a little bit bigger of a box I can put odds and ends into. Here are a couple of strawberry bushes. Strawberry. Here are a couple of blueberry bushes. I didn't realize that they don't really come on until August, but there's been sporadic blueberries, like you can see right there, and they've varied in flavor, some sweet and some tart. But a lot of them have been already taken by birds or whatever. They're not waiting for them to ripen at all. Or even if they do ripen, they disappear pretty quickly. Oh, I see a culprit. That little black dot that's trying to get away from me is a lanternfly, and they are tricky to get. So very tricky to manage. I guess I could spray them, but I don't walk around with sprays all the time. So this is one of the marigold buckets with a, I believe, dragon tongue bean or maybe pigeon, no, pigeon pea or dragon tongue. I'm not sure. We'll see when it comes out. We are here with the corn. This is some nice looking corn tassels. And we've got corn cobs coming in. Yay. I do feel like I need to keep up on the fertility and whatnot to get a good harvest. Although we haven't had a problem in the past. This has been rotated now to this spot, whereas it's been in those two further spots in the past couple of seasons. So we'll do it here for a couple of seasons as well. Something I wanted to point out here is how corn does grow out of cobs if just left over to winter. Now I'm in 6B, average cold, maybe -5, -10 Fahrenheit in the deepest of winter. So if it's any colder, I don't know if that would still be the case. But so this is a kernel, and now a cob, and a bunch of the kernels came up. Now this is obviously not going to yield anything. The individuals are very tiny, very close together, not getting enough support. So I am going to pull this because there are larger stalks already in place. So this whole area just needs to go like so. Oh, yeah, that one too. There we go. So that should be sufficient to do that, and then leave the stalks in the soil to come back in. Now this one's a little bit close too. Maybe I'll take that out as well. Okay, that's the maintenance for the corn. Oh, this mess. Borage really takes over. It's like it stems out quite a bit and then it gets really heavy on top and it flops over and it's a mess. That one, all the ones over at the tomato area, a mess. So I do need to clean that up. It's kind of obscuring this strawberry, but it's okay. Here's another bucket of the marigold. And then let me open this up and get you inside. So I haven't been in here really for the last 2 months. The mulch has kept most of the weeds down, but I also haven't been in the pathways, which is very weedy. I've managed to do some work on those pathways, but I haven't gotten over to here. So what we have in here is a borage plant, which the pollinators have had no problem finding. They're always stuck in the net, and once in a while I let them out. What we have left here are some Brussels sprouts, it looks like, a cabbage, and where are the markers? This is supposed to be a cauliflower. This looks also like a cauliflower. This is a kohlrabi. That's a kohlrabi looking very nice. But yeah, I already pulled something from here. I think a broccoli. So that's what's in here. The plan is to top the cauliflower, the Brussels sprouts. I think I'll do that. And it's supposed to encourage the sprouts. So we will test that theory right now. So there you go. And here we have our eggplant finally getting some size. They were just sitting for quite a bit of time doing nothing, but we're starting to get flowers, so that's good. They're usually pretty dependable. And right above them, that I've made this pairing for a while now, is the okra. Certain levels of growth. This is not okra, that is brown cherry, which is a weed to me right now. I put in another seed in there. I've not been great at watering. This is why I don't um, direct seed very often. But I like to have 5 of things. And then this side, looky loo, the peppers really liking the heat. They're, they'll size up more. In August, they'll really be like behemoths. But right now, they're very tiny and petite. This is Thai chili, lots of little chilies. This is, I believe, a ghost pepper, another one, but not, it struggled. It really has. Some of these were winter sown, so, I mean, not winter sown, overwintered. So they've had quite shock to their system. This one is habanero, looking very healthy. No, yes, we have fruit. Look at that, so sweet. This one is mini bell, which is a mystery actually pepper that I've been trying to figure out, but it's a good mild heat. Over here is another of the supposedly the same, labeled the same, but I don't think so. That looks like poblano of some kind. These are Jimmy Nardellos. I left a ripe one for you guys to see, so I'll be able to harvest that. Jimmy Nardellos tend to have nice, long, big peppers, so that's, and it's a sweet pepper, I believe. This one is regular bell, a California bell. Those take forever because they tend to have a good size to them. But there's one starting up. And then these two are paprika peppers. So the bag says paprika. Generally, paprika is a preparation, but this is supposedly paprika peppers. So those are so cool. So here's more mess of that borage. And then the tomatoes, I don't know. I'm having not the fondest time with the tomatoes right now. They're not looking great. I'm getting a lot of disease early on. I have been planting tomatoes in this very area for quite a while, so that could be part of it. Here's more borage taking over, which for the most part, I don't mind that much, really. I don't mind them till I'm walking through them, and then they prickle. They are pokey. So, like, this is Alice's dream, which I planted quite late. So it's still just chugging along. The Arkansas Traveler was the first one to fruit and the first one to ripen. Here's some B-roll for you. And we've got fruit on most, if not all, of the plants. Oh, I lost this one. For some reason, it's an old twine. I should learn my lesson. But the twine keeps coming apart. This is Cherokee Purple that I have to pick up again. But the tomatoes are in. This is more in the shade, so this marigold is not flowered yet. This is a Talvez, which was also planted later, so no fruit yet. And then this is a cherry sweetie, I believe. Oh, we have evidence of some ripening. Not picking it yet. And then there's another cherry in here, just a Santium Sunrise. No, nothing ripe yet. I've only had one case of blossom end rot so far, and it was on the Heinz. The Heinz tomatoes, which are, ketchup-y stuff. And it has been the most prone to disease plant. So I don't think Heinz is a good variety for me in the long run. So this is another bed of a gigantic porch. But in here is a mix of Aunt Molly's ground cherry that are volunteers, and then more importantly, more peppers. So this is an ancho poblano. Really? So that's what that looks like. Different from what I said before was an ancho poblano. So I don't know what that other one was. But that doesn't look like ancho poblano to me. What is this? This is more like a shishito, but no, it's not. The shishito next door is fruitless at the moment. How bizarre. Do we have any other shishito? No? This one is labeled shishito, and it looks like the first one. So, did we mislabel again? So this should be maybe shishito. This is supposed to be habanada, no fruit yet. This is supposedly, what does it say there? Another habanada, still no fruit. Back here is, that looks interesting. Oh no, squash the flower. This is habanero, a little more heat. And that has some fruits to it. Yes. And then another Thai chili yonder. And another, what's that one? Another Jimmy Dardello right there. I think the borage has shaded it, maybe, because it's very long and lanky. But it does have a fruit, so that's good. Oh, doing a terrible job here. So that bed is looking nice. Here's another bed of greens that I uncovered, and I also weeded as best as I could. We have a type of cabbage, which I'm surprised is not more pristine than this. Lots of holes. That's unpleasant to look at. This is a Charleston cabbage. Next door is, I'm trying to figure out which ones are sprouts because I want to deadhead them or whatever the term might be. That might be a cabbage or a cauliflower. This one, oh, is that the butterfly? The cursed butterfly? The cabbage moth? Oh, there's another one. Dang it. So I did not succeed in keeping them out, even with the netting not secure enough. This looks like it might be a Brussels. Yes, it is. So these two are Brussels. Let me dehead this one. There we go. And the chickens are enjoying these. And ooh, that's quite the spider there. Yep. And then I can dehead this one now. Spider's moved on. Yeah. And this was a broccoli that I harvested. And then on this side is just, oh well, this is an amaranth that's self-seeded, or the seed came in with other things. Here's another Brussels, if I'm not mistaken, that I can also deadhead. All right. So there was supposed to be a red cabbage here, but it is no longer. Either I harvested it or I probably did because it wasn't doing well. So that's this bed. Now, this bed we had primarily garlic that we just harvested. Check out the last video for that. In the meantime, as we wait for the fall garden to get put in, I have some basil, and that was a late blooming seed of a watermelon. I think it's crimson sweet. We'll see how it does for the season. And then I had a couple, three potato seeds in here, and that looks like it'll be on its way out very soon. Speaking of more potatoes on their way out, right here, 2 grow bags with 2 and 3 in each. And then those plastic crates also have potatoes. Those were the earliest in, first out. And we've seen this area before. I did weed so that we can see what's what. Again, that's kohlrabi, a cabbage, mishmash. Like you can see a type of amaranth, asparagus that's self-seeded. I'm not sure what this is other than a kind of mustard. I think it's wild though. I have another Brussels here that I topped a little while ago, and a rogue tomato. So I'm letting that go on until I need the bed. Here's some more asparagus seedlings. Maybe I should sell those. Another volunteer tomato and a spent broccoli that I will be getting rid of as soon as I need the bed. Another broccoli. Those are for the chickens, and more beds that I weeded and just left in place to decompose. The problem I have with this type of mulching is, or chop and drop situation, is that it does give haven for the voles. I have voles here, and they're everywhere. I can't do much about it unless like I had a cat. So they use all this underbrush to just move around as they please, and nothing's going to get them. And this is more or less fenced, so the dog is not going through here either, trampling around. Now this jungly mess of ferns of the asparagus. Oh, here's a Japanese beetle. I've been flicking them off when necessary. Now, unfortunately, it's hard to see, but there is a surviving Joe Pye weed in there and Eliatris. But the milkweed that we had bought this early in the summer got eaten, probably by the rabbits that still exist and maraud my garden. There's 2 I've seen at least. They're mostly in the front, but they make their way around, being that the dog is inside at night and can't perimeter. I have my primary ground cherry here. I don't know why it's looking so pathetic. other than it's not getting, maybe it's taking up too much water and I'm not giving it enough water, but I'm also getting beat by the squirrel or the chipmunk as to the fruit. Over here, we have a little bit better scenario of, oh, goodness, it's now attached itself to the container. This is a sugar baby. I need to take care of this tendril so that I can free it. So I'll do that after. Ah, now, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I have this volunteer ground cherry that I'm letting go, but I might be um, using up nutrients, taking it away from this cantaloupe, which is a Haley's best. So we'll see. And then over here is another melon, Minnesota midget. It's looking really good. Hopeful. Cross your fingers. While I'm here, what I discovered just a couple of days ago, because I'm not, I'm a blinders on type person sometimes. This is mint, particularly spearmint, particularly mint that I planted in a container with a hole at the bottom, and I let over winter in this general area. Now, I thought the plant died because there was nothing coming out of it the next season. So last year, this was not here, but now it is here, and it is very healthy compared to the one that's in the pot that I have, yonder. So this is a problem because I didn't want mint in ground because there's already wild mint that the previous owners have all along the property. I didn't want to, contribute to that shenanigans of that. So I will be pulling these up. These, they definitely smell like spearmint. They are heavenly. And I will be drying them and doing, teas and whatever's with them. But yeah, I mean, I will try to transplant them into another pot and maybe keep them on the patio where it's stone and not likely to disappear. But it's going to be, probably a couple of years of pulling these out to get them out of here completely. So this green stalk tower has mostly strawberries. You've seen this, obviously. Here's the I keep calling these tarragon. These are savory, winter and summer. They started to flower. Now, what's new here is the yellow wonder strawberry have started to come in. These I just put in. I see these were from seed, and so I just put this in the spring. And so what they are is like, whitish, yellowish strawberries, and they are delicious. The sweetness is consistent among the plants, whereas the little red alpine ones, some are sour and some are sweet. Now I'm also getting, this is the main area where the beetles are congregating that I see and take care of and try to manage. But I thought they were only going after leaves, but they do go after the fruit as well. I have seen them nibble away at the fruit. So I am in competition with the Japanese beetles as far as harvesting strawberries is concerned. And then in this container is the package said husk cherry. It looks a whole lot like Aunt Molly's. As far as growth pattern, we'll see if it tastes any different. But it's gonna be a few more weeks before we see what's up with this. And now over here we have our bucket of sweet alyssum. It's really starting to take over. This is some scallions, which is great. And then this yet to be known tomato variety. This has only got one fruit. Now I think the heat, multiple heat waves we've had, has dropped a lot of the flowers. So it will come through again, but right now it's concentrating on that one fruit and making it quite hefty. Probably if it had competition, it wouldn't be so. Now here, I'm gonna take this cover off for you. Hold on. So here we have what's supposed to be cauliflower, but they sure are tall and leaning over because they're so top heavy, leaning on my 3 doing fairly well leeks. This is more Brussels sprouts later, put in a lot later, so we won't see anything from those for a while. This is another cauliflower that I'm holding up with one of these cages. And then what's back here? We have some rogue like garlic, some onion. I can pick whenever I like. And then I recently seeded some beets in this quadrant, and we'll put in some more as we get more things come up. Over here is our rice. Looking good, looking good. It's been so hot that I've had to fill these buckets like almost every other day, but they're growing well. I'm not even going to go in there. That's where 3 artichoke plants had been planted, but they're completely gone. Rabbits probably have taken them completely. So what we have over here, we had some fennel, but only a couple of them bulbed, if you can even call it that. So I did reseed some fennel, and then those 2 left over, I'm allowing to just go to flower so that I have my own seeds, or yeah, my own seeds. What's left over here are a couple of parsley. They go pretty deep into the winter as far as usability. I have a volunteer hollyhock, and then my thyme has really filled in this area, which is really nice. I like that. And then this is dill that I've let go to seed as well. It does not self seed. Granted, it falls into the weeds, but it doesn't self seed as well as I like. So I'm gonna try self seeding or volunteer, I should say, volunteer seeding and sowing on purpose. Over here, I don't think that they had a chance anyway, but the jicama is still the same size as when I planted it a month and a half ago. There was a lot of weeds here. You can see in this cage where the weeds have not been touched because I don't want to touch the cage because it's supporting the very heavy yarrow. But I don't know. I don't think this is a good spot for the jicama. I don't know why. Everything else does well here, and I've fed them. I let the oregano go to flower. I think it's beautiful, light purple. I see I have, oh, this is mint. I have a mint. This is one of the wild mints of the property. And a few feverfew. That feverfew is already done. But feverfew does, seed itself and continues to bloom on new plants. I also have cilantro that, I thought there was another one. Cilantro that self-seeded and it's now going to flower. Some more areas that I cleared out of the wild mustards. Here's a few left over that I leave because they still have flowers on them. More oregano. This space I didn't weed as well because the chamomile is there mostly, and they're really easy to come out of the ground if they're grabbed by accident with the weeds. So it's a tedious job. So I'm gonna let the chamomile self seed and then clear this out in the fall better. And more yarrow. Now this fig finally, woke up. We got the heat, we got the rain. It likes that. So hopefully next year, if I overwinter it properly, then we could actually get fruit out of it. And this is a variety that I've lost. I don't know what it is anymore. So if we ever get fruit, we might find out. I also stuck a few garlic, like soft neck garlic, and they look like they're just on their way out. But it was like a pest deterrent. I don't know how well that actually worked. And lastly, in here is just a couple of random holy basils. This one's looking better than that one. So it's very shady. I did not corral the yarrow as well as I usually do to keep them away from this general area. Basil doesn't mind the shade. They don't want to be in full sun, but it's really like encroaching on them. So here's a closer look at the cilantro that's giving us coriander seeds in the future. And there's not lots of little hoverflies and even bees that like this flower. So it's very nice to have. So around over here by the driveway, not really much going on except for this mountain mint that where did I get it from? I know I pulled the stem from someone's house, and now it's starting to move along, which is great. So I'd rather mountain mint take up residence here than many more of this. The name escapes me. A solidago of some kind.
Mom, why do they look like candy corn?
So this is the first batch of wine berries that I found on the property, and then the other patches came later, at least to my knowledge. Some of them the birds planted after the fact, and some were probably there and I just wasn't paying attention. But we get quite a nice haul of wineberry yummy eating from this area.
Yeah.
So I am not the best tree caretaker, and this dogwood is looking like it's been attacked by something. It lost all its bigger leaves, and now tiny leaves are coming on, which, I mean, it's alive, obviously, at least. That's something. So hopefully it makes it through, and I won't lose yet another plant this winter. And this is the area that the rabbits live in. Like there's a whole bunch of um, trees and stumps and stuff just piled over there. And that's most likely where they nest. But obviously it's all wooded there, so they can take their pick of burrows.
Look how much we've gotten.
Okay, this little bit here is being protected from the dog mostly because she will just dig it all up. But this is supposed to house some sunflowers, and I have a few come through. Some the ones that are clustered together are Mexican sunflowers, and then, did any of the other ones survive? They're supposed to be snackers. I'm not optimistic that those came up. I see the little ones, but not any big ones. Well, there'll be hopefully sunflowers here at some point. But for now, keep it covered so the dog doesn't dig it all up. Over here is some soil I'd gotten like ages ago, and weeds have started to grow up in it. But I'm starting to collect it and use it around the property. So those weeds are going to pop up wherever I've chosen to put the soil. Over here, we just have a mishmash of flowers, our lamb's ear, our hollyhock is almost to an end. I like to have a few Queen Anne's lace around. Most of them I pull. I only had one surviving poppy, and it struggled, and no seeds from that. This blueberry container also struggling. Very unhappy here. I gotta really do something other than weed. That needs some acidity. Some buckets of strawberries. The sweet pea's still hanging on. This is the best year I've had of the sweet peas. I also put in more recent addition. Looks like the same color, but that's nice. The columbine giving us a few more until Peter's out. This is marshmallow. I finally got the marshmallow to take. It's so pretty. It should be bigger than this, but I'll take it. And I'm not going to harvest it because the root is, and I think the leaves is what you harvest for making marshmallow, the confection. But I'm not going to harvest it, and hopefully it'll keep getting bigger. And the leaves are soft. Nice. Back there are chia. They tend to be slow until the end of the season, which is a little late for me to harvest any. Now, usually these ever-bearing strawberries have given me some fruit from here time to time. This year, and even last year, haven't been as fruitful. So I know they could get tired and maybe just needing to be replaced. And here, luckily, is milkweed that I did winter sow and it's still alive. Nothing has found it. So there is still hope that we will have milkweed at some point. And then another blueberry bush that has already been fruited. It had a nice batch of fruit, but they're all gone, even though I put this netting around it. The fruit's gone. Oh, yeah. Let me not forget. I did this container not too long ago of mainly flowers, and I really jammed them in there, and we're getting some good results. I know that this is moonflower, and I know that this is scabiosa. The rest I've forgotten already. I know there's like nicotiana, white cypress vine, bunch of other stuff. We'll see, we'll see if anything comes up. So the radish and lettuce that I put in this porch planter are getting along. And then we have, ignore those, the green stalks on this patio with a bunch of onions. Some are ready to be picked. This is a pepper, another habanada that I felt bad for and had space to put in, so I plunked it there. These tomatoes are the dwarf variety, so they are not, fruiting yet, and they're not looking that great. So again, fertility is a must in here. We have a couple of nasturtium flowers in here, but other than that, nothing much more to report. Oh, there should be, oh, there it is, a seedling of rutabaga. I was antsy one day and just plunked a few seedlings, and here's one. Looks like it's gotten leggy. Must have been in the shade for too long. We'll see if that comes up. Otherwise, I am sowing more of that. Rutabaga doesn't mind the heat of summer, so now is a good time to sow those. Let me just weed this while I'm here. So here's another container that wasn't doing much. It had this old celery, so I had space. I had another pepper I could put in. So this is another ancho. Struggling, obviously. Then I plunked in basil, hoping it will do better here. Then I have a couple of containers of the citronella dotted about. I attempted to start weeding the calendula area. There's about as far as I got. It has taken over and have not had the energy just yet to tackle it. The hyssop and the bee balm looking beautiful. The lemon balm taking over. That's that space there. So we have a wonderful show of the cosmos. These have self-sown now for a few seasons. Once in a while I throw seeds in. Only one purpley flower one. But then there are these, different variety for sure, and they haven't flowered yet. Here is another, this was sown. I planted this, Aunt Molly's. Here's the blueberries that have been blueberried. There's a few small that I've tasted. They're nice and sweet when they're super tiny. And then here's another volunteer. Unfortunately, this is reason for me to think that that cantaloupe is not going to do so well, because it's really, I think, taking a lot of energy from the container, because there's a blueberry bush in here that's not looking so hot. Some more. So on this side, we still have plenty of Swiss chard slowly moving along with this. Ah, another kohlrabi. I think that's another kohlrabi. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see. Is that the cauliflower? Yep, cauliflower. Not behaving as I thought cauliflower should. They're really reaching out. Granted, this space does get shaded from this side on the north side, so it does reach out towards the south there. And that could be the reason why it's so leggy. This is that bag I'm working on. I got some fronds of asparagus that I'm chopping and dropping in there. So composting, putting dirt. The raspberries are done. We might get another flush in the fall. Sometimes that happens. And then here, so this was like an afterthought of, there's some space, let me put some garlic in it. And this was like the smaller runty pieces. Now, Garden Viking, I believe, mentioned that if you leave a scape and wait for it to straighten up, that's a better indicator that the plant is ready to be harvested. So that's what I did here. So here are some scapes that I took out. So part of me wants to leave these and just let them see how tiny. and let them overwinter and split and get bigger and bigger because they're tiny and I have plenty of perfectly big ones. But we'll see. We shall see. We'll leave that there for now. Over here we have the cantaloupe looking good. See, in my haste, I did not do a good job of lining the bottom, and this type of grass is very persistent. So it's coming up in the bed, and I'm just having to do this, and this is going to be a lifelong endeavor here. I left the peas, up, and they've actually given me a second flush, so that was exciting. I've been eating a few more pods than I thought I had time for because I thought they were done. And this one's not looking too well, a gristeran, but this one's looking better, and it's starting to trellis up. And then the sweet potato here is looking healthier. Now, let me get over there, but the figs are looking healthy. They've grown quite a bit. This one especially, I don't know how I'm going to get this in the house in the winter. Ooh, these nasturtiums have different flower colors. They're a lot lighter than the rose ones from before. I want to take this off, but I really don't have time right now. The sun is already setting. But, the beets are still doing their thing, not really getting much bigger. And then whatever pumpkins that I've forgotten the variety of are growing nicely. They're unfortunately attaching themselves to the netting. So I do need to take the netting off and free them. I probably it's just that with the rabbits, I feel like they're just gonna take out whatever greens I have in here if I take the netting off. And I don't have another big netting to make this taller. We'll have to see what we can do. And this volunteer tomato, for some reason, I'm allowing to live in here. You might, I don't know, we might take that out. Yeah.
How do you open it? Oh, you cracked it open. What's in here?
Pea.
Yeah. It's like kind of like boiled.
Boiled.
Yeah. Are you recording?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. Oh, good.
Tastes like the salad, except with that sauce.
Salad dressing.
Yeah.
Okay. Nothing much to say here. The strawberries are done. Other than these cracks in the patio strawberries have given me some nice fruit. So yay for them. There's just some experiments on here with strawberries and marigolds and weeds. So the acorn squash is doing well. This loofah is still alive. The roselle is okay. I just walked into a cobweb, so yay. What do we got here? Getting shaded out are some sweet potato vines, but they look good. We have a baby yellow squash. So yay. And there's two plants in here. I don't know why I did that, but there's a tinier plant there. Some other kind of melon. Why don't I know what kind of melon this is? But there it is. I thought I was doing pretty good watering, but I don't know why this tomato, another cherry sweetie, it looks like it's suffering so much. But the loofah is not suffering at all. This is what I'm happy to see. And even more, these babies right there. There's sure more, but there'll be more coming. There's lots of nice flowers. I seeded some more cucumbers. The carrot bed, that is not faring well. Something got to that because it's very sparse. Let's see. So there's a lot of empty. Ow, ow, ow! Being poked by thorns. Okay, there's a lot of empty spots where there weren't empty spots before. And the carrots in there right now are very tiny, pretty much nothing, nothing. And it was so healthy not that long ago, and now it's, fried and everything. So definitely a fall sowing of carrots is in order. All right, coming to an end. We got our flowers, I think that's tarragon. Is that tarragon? No, Mexican mint. This is Mexican mint. Our bay, not really. Is it growing new bay? I don't think so. I don't think so. The ginger's fine, at least. I don't think that's done anything either. I think that's done. The cinnamon basil's alive. That's good. This sweet William is on its way out. The bells of Ireland are very tiny. They gave us some flowers. The zinnias, though, are only starting, and they're very puny because this dirt is not very healthy, good dirt, and got this giant tree here with, roots sapping up any nutrients there. I can't remember right now what else I planted here. I know there's salvia bachelor buttons. These might be bachelor buttons. See, this is the mint, some of the mint that I showed you from earlier, but they don't look nearly as good as the ones in ground. There's a mix of peppermint and spearmint. Look how exploded this container is of strawberries, but no fruit. So next year, hopefully. Salvia, you can get a trace of what the flower might have looked like if it actually grew. Oh yeah, there was a St. John's wort that I planted here, but it is gone. It got dug up. Those are amaranth also, right here, also nice and puny. So no, not the greatest spot for plants that need more nutrients and maybe more sunlight too. And this is the main berry patch that is inside the fence that we collect from. And I take care of this. I prune it and cultivate it. It wasn't here when we first got here. And we thought at first that it was just one of those terrible rose bushes. But alas, it has given us some yummy berries. This is also where a lot of my sage has taken over the space. And nothing else. What else? There's more sage on this side. We've got these echinaceas that were here before us. But yeah, we are blessed in wine berries. Now, speaking of fall gardening, here's what we've got growing on. So I've already started some seeds, and they've already come up. Where's my list? We have Brussels sprouts coming up, broccoli. Over here we have cabbage and more cabbage, different kind of cabbage. And then this one is more cauliflower. And then nothing's up here yet. This will be kale, kohlrabi, Swiss chard. And then here I put leeks. And then more recently I put, what is it? Cilantro, dill, and fennel. And these are empty, waiting for like later, more in August starts.
This is my flowers. They're not fully grown yet. These two aren't in yet. They're the same ones. I chose to pick the flowers myself. And there is a little leaf right here.
Yep, the larkspur one is up.
The sweet pea is the tallest.
Yes, there's 4 of those. Then king coral is celosia, Canterbury bells.
And
These are poppies, watermelon.
California poppies.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming along on this tour with us today. I tried to include little things here and there that I've observed, not just what I always show you guys. All right. Thanks for watching. Talk to you again soon. So I'll harvest more. Bye.
Bye.